I think it's interesting conversation because we will be focusing a little bit on 2024 because we are in July, so 6 months passed. We're gonna go to the next 6 months, and I feel like obviously we are in a very interesting situation where we could think that the crypto market could lead a surge in the blockchain gaming space. It was the case a little bit for the last one. But we're going to offer a debate on that matter for sure, and we're going to just have your opinion on what's happening right now. What are your takeaways about what's happening in the space? But for anyone here who doesn't know who you are and what you do, I'll just give you a few lines if you can just introduce yourself. Starting with you, Brian.
Shall I start? Yeah, so hi everybody, thanks for the invitation. My name is Brian Hagan. I've been working at Sorare for the past 4 or 5 years now. And at Sorare what we do is we basically get officially licensed trading card game. So we kind of create stickers of football, basketball, baseball players, all that officially licensed, and all these gaming items are gaming items in a fantasy football, basketball, or baseball game. And so, these collectibles have, collectible, I would say, utility, but also gaming utility. And so, yeah, I've been in the game for 5 years, more or less. And I'm very proud of having 5 million users and, well, registered users, a few hundred thousands, monthly active users, mostly on I would say, the free-to-play version of the game.
Hello, Nicolas, Pouard, head of Web3 at Ubisoft. So Ubisoft is a major game publisher with IP like Assassin's Creed or Rainbow Six, for instance. Working in the space for 6 years, I think, something like that. And so heading Web3. I will not share the number of players of Ubisoft, a lot. In Web3, we are just about to launch our first NFTs. We still use this term, but the idea is to launch the game around October. So we are finally almost there.
Congrats. I've been following what Nicolas has been doing for a while. Is there. So hi everyone, thanks for having me. So I'm the co-CEO and co-founder of Ultra. I've been around since 14 years now in the blockchain space. But really, we built Ultra now 7 years ago. That's when we started the company. And the aim was really to offer a fully fledged solution for the gamers. They don't need to go on 10 different platforms, like on Steam to buy their games, on Battlefield to play tournaments, on Discord or whatnot. And so we want to aggregate basically all these kind of services under one roof to offer this experience to everyone, both for Web 2 and Web 3 games. So there is really no delineation. When you use Ultra, you don't need to feel like you need to understand blockchain or buy coins to do something. You just jump in, you play the game, and there you go. This is really what we try to aim for. And I would say, yeah, we have some cool stuff upcoming as well for this year.
And we're gonna obviously use your different activities in the space for the three of you to try to define the rest of 2024 for our ecosystem. But also just a reminder, so obviously many years in the blockchain gaming field, but just a reminder, the Blockchain Game Alliance, our organization exists since 2018, and we have two of our founding members here, so the two Nicolas, if you may define. I can do that, maybe not everyone, but super happy to have you, obviously, because you're actually founding the BGA in this principle of gathering this ecosystem and all the things we are doing right now and today in terms of panels, in terms of activities outside, giving some credibility to the space by inviting games to be played as well in companies. That's really the core vision shared since 2018, so super pumped for that. So going into what I would like to talk about, we released a BGA magazine every year. The last time it was in December last year, and just saying, okay, what happened in 2023, what will happen in 2024. And last year we observed that onboarding challenges were a significant hurdle. Like we talked about that for this afternoon, obviously. And okay, 6 months, 7 months later, I would love to have your opinion on, do you still see this as the main blocker for our market to drive growth? And what is missing for the blockchain gaming ecosystem to grow exponentially? So would love to start with you, Brian.
Yeah, so, I can't speak for others, but for Sorare, I think, for sure, onboarding was always an issue. But I would say that today we mostly solved that issue. We've always been after trying to acquire sports fans and not necessarily just crypto native people. And today, if you're on board with Sorare, you won't see any ETH anywhere, you won't see any wallet connect anywhere, you won't see any kind of crypto, and that's always been our goal, is to build a game that feels and looks like Web 2, but with the benefits of Web 3 in the background. So, I mean, for me, I think, today I believe that we have the capabilities. If Ubisoft is launching their NFT collection in October, it means that, we have the capabilities now to onboard normal users. And so I think, it's just a matter of like putting all these different tools together in a way that's elegant, easy to use. And that's maybe what's been, I would say, difficult in that space, is that we kind of tend to overcomplicate things instead of, focusing on the one thing that's important, which is building a fun game. Yeah.
For you, Nico.
Jumping on just what Brian says, I think it's we complicate. I think it's like on purpose that we try to complicate things, because it's to make the value proposition of Web3 more tangible. And so I think the next step, now that this issue is solved, is how we share this value proposition. So yes, we have to build fun games, but still the real value of owning assets, or being able to rent it, sell it, do a lot of stuff with it, extra interoperability, all the value proposition that we shared when we started a few years ago. It's very difficult to make them more concrete without this all wallet stuff, etc. So the feeling of Web 2 also obfuscates in a way the value proposition. So it's not a dead end, I think. We still need the great products, but we will also have to find a way to share the new features that we can bring to the space. For me, it's not just pedagogy. It's not just. It's really try a way to make players use these features, feel it's a bit different, but without being blocked by the complexity of it.
Yeah, totally agree. I would say on the one aspect is also about fitting to players' habits. For example, in terms of pricing, when they have to buy something very expensive to play a game, it's already outrageous for a player when they have to pay $90. This is crazy. So this is also a shift that needs to happen, is making it that it feels the same. You pay $5 for your card pack, and that's fine. That's supposed to be the real price. So those matching, I think, this economy is very important. And I think also in terms of gathering the players into one location as well, because right now, for example, you have to go. If you think of, I don't know, like say Steam, you're gonna go there because your friends are there, so you really want to invite them in a party, and so you can play together. But right now in the Web3 space, everything's really scattered. You have to go. If you have say Sorare will have their game, there's no link with another game, or this user base is not shared. It's like two different things. But you need a sort of central piece to bring all these people together. That's how you saw mobile gaming grow. You have the phone, okay, everybody's on the phone, it's the same stuff, same thing, it's growing together. PC, you have Steam, it grows all together. But currently Web3 is all over the place, in a sense, to me, in terms of where the content is located. So that's, I think, a big pain point that needs to be solved. and hopefully we get
I'm
there.
wondering what would be this place.
I don't know.
Yeah, we could deep dive into that if we have time, because that's actually interesting to define this. But I know that as well. Like, I've been in the blockchain gaming space by learning about you, Brian, and the Sorare and what you're doing from the start, as you said. Like, just forget about the Web3 layer, but just focus on the game and what makes it exciting. But just to come back on the recipe of success, right? MSS, or you tell me if I'm wrong, you can, obviously. But free to play, fixed supply of rare NFTs, no currency distancing, so no dedicated token for the Sorare ecosystem. The use of tournament for NFTs as well, and partial market control when you have your own marketplace, but also others. So why don't we see more games respecting this framework where it works for you?
Good question. To be honest, I don't have the answer to that one. But I think what's been really hard is balancing the economy, and we've seen it with the latest kind of bull market in blockchain gaming and the likes of Axie, etc. Like how hard it is to have a balanced economy, especially when you have massive demand. And how can you control that demand? How can you control the supply that's facing that demand? And it's a difficult thing to do. I think at the end of the day, where we've succeeded is in tapping into a passion, sports fandom, which is very universal, and in partnering with partners that have been able to bring us users that are just passionate about the kind of game that we've built. But I think what's been challenging is coming back to your point, Nico, about kind of connecting all of that together. Is that, for instance, in Sorare, like obviously we're building a Web3 because we believe in it, but right now we on the layer 2, and we allow anyone to mint and withdraw their NFTs on the layer 1 and do whatever they want with it, and less than 0.1% of users do that. So it just shows, coming back to kind of the promise of interoperability. It's a promise that we all love, but it's a promise that is kind of an empty shell at this stage, and there's a lot of work to do to make a game and its gaming items like interoperable in a real way, not just in other marketplaces but also in other games. So we worked on that with Nico in the past, which was a really cool experience. But I'd love to do more of that, Nico.
This is a call.
I think in terms of cross-game assets as well, it's very complicated. If you're building game design to actually make them workable in 2 different games and obtainable in 2 different games, it seems like almost infeasible, if you want my opinion about it. But it's more around how these assets can be bring you benefits which are not directly gameplay elements. If it's gameplay elements, it's very complicated to merge 2 games.
Definitely, and jumping on that also at Ultra, so you obviously have a strong community from the start, but as we are focusing on 2024, and you launch so you had the marketplace, and you have obviously the different games, so the launcher as well, but you also launched the tournament system recently, like it was in January this year. How do you see things happening since 6 months when you launch it, and how do you see not the future, but this next 6 months for the next 2024, let's say 25 as well, about what you're building, like how you build a community based on the 3 products that you have right now?
Yeah, I would say in terms of what we've been doing, we sort of preparing for the rest of the year and for next year. It's basically making, because we build a lot at Ultra, we really did a lot. We spent a lot of time and we did a lot of features, and we're a very big platform that does a lot. But now we sort of have to tie this and finalize the different bits and pieces to be able to have the best possible solution for launching games. Since we have our own exclusive games coming out later, we can actually work with them to directly find what is really missing for them. So we are at this stage, and so the beginning of the year was also a lot about seamless onboarding. So we went to get a social login system. You click one time, you get on the platform, done. We also worked a lot on the discoverability, which is basically making all our different elements available on the web directly, so SEO and all of that kicks in. Plus, there is no barrier. Don't need to download anything. You just go there. You can see it. If you really want it, you can still click. Same way Steam does it. And I think for what's to come, the content is very critical. Having like really good quality content. So we put a lot of effort into making this content consumable in the best possible way. And also we have a sort of something we didn't unveil yet. That we will unveil, which we're gonna support basically the growth of these games. And so for us, this is really key, is offering a better solution that was out in the market in the Web2 space. It's offering a solution that you really participate to the growth of the game. You participate even before the game is live. You know everything about that game as well. So we really sort of create, we believe, the best environment possible for launching your game and playing your game.
And when you say content, I guess you mentioned mainly games coming to the platform, or not only?
Not only games, so you have games, but also dApps tied to those games. So the idea is, if, for example, you play Champion Tactics, you don't need to worry about the rest. You play it. If you want to use the marketplace, it's arm reach. Arm length, so you don't have to do anything about it. If you want to talk to friends, it's there as well. You don't need to go on another website or download something else. Everything is just there for you.
Got it, perfect. Nicolas, for Ubisoft, so obviously you are known for all the big IPs in the gaming sector. You have your own game, you have two games, but the first one, Champion of Tactics. But focusing a little bit about the big IP, because we got Sammy from Cross the Edges on stage before, and we also got a panel, it was in Paris, I think in February with Nicolas, when the subject was who we should rely on for the success of blockchain gaming. Should we rely on companies, big IPs coming from the big game publishers like Ubisoft going into Web3, or will it be the little builders in the space and try to go further with new tools and everything? So you have big IPs. You're already doing a lot of things with your IPs, Assassin's Creed as well with Veve, and with Sammy for Watch Dogs. So let me know, what's your take on that?
So I think, of course, we need both. That's for sure. It's two different things, I think. Big IPs are mostly another way to solve user acquisition. The problem nowadays is really to get attention of the players, and with a big IP, you're sure that you will get attention. So that can help a bit. It will not solve the question of the content. You still need good games, and what we experiment in is that we need games that are really, that might be where we disagree with Brian, maybe, I don't know. The games that are really leveraging Web3 the best way possible, so really going deep into what the technology could help to create, and that the big companies cannot really do it, I think. So that's where the builders are really needed here, because they will experiment things that we cannot experiment, including using tokens as a user acquisition tools, and maybe for the reason, in a way, Sorare, they don't have a token, but they are leveraging Ethereum since the very beginning. So it's kind of a token for rewards, and that's part of the value proposition, or where you are at right now, but at the very beginning it was. So yeah, I think we need both. And for me, what is really interesting these days is that, yeah, IPs are important, but I think the best way now to gather the biggest audience possible is really to work on the funnels of acquisition, for the acquisition. And now there is very interesting stuff happening with Base, Farcaster, for instance, on Telegram as well. So we are seeing some like very interesting moves on this on this era. Maybe the gap between social media and gaming is finally reducing a bit, and it's partly thanks to Web3. Or Web3 is helping to do it a bit differently from what it was, the way it was done before. So I would take a close look to what is happening at this era.
it should be like for the next BGA Connect, like it should be one of the focus, because definitely feel the same way into the relationship between gaming and decentralized social networks. And we're definitely missing the points, maybe because go ahead.
Because it's we are speaking about interoperability, but actually it will happen here. I think it's not how I use a card from Sorare in my game. It's more how can I easily share a card with a friend, and if I can do it on Telegram or on Base or Farcaster, it would be great.
I would say if you check about the China and Asia in general, they've been really like light years ahead in terms of super app, which is like really your social network and all the apps around, and you pay everything with your WeChat in China. I mean, you go to buy a banana, you pay with WeChat for sure. If you pay your bill, you're gonna do the same. If you play a game, it's gonna be on that as well. So it's something just make a lot of sense.
We had this panel today about actually the bridge between the US/the Western world and obviously what's happening in Asia as well, and how we need to confront these different ideas, and the super apps you're mentioning as well was actually a subject of the discussion. One of the things, in terms of collectibles, it makes so much sense to talk about Rarity. Obviously, we know that. Like, I'm someone who lives in the Pokemon mania, so I know how it is. So I obviously know the relevance of having that in a game like Sorare. Although I see more and more games trying to escape a little bit more this rarity aspect of a blockchain game, and more likely to incentivize player to use a token, like a massive influx of money/tokens, or a massive influx of NFTs. We could make sense, but on your side, what do you think about that? Should we favor rarity? Should we favor mass adoption, so mass access to tokens?
But I think the token-based quests that we kind of saw in the past few months are quite interesting. That being said, I do think that they bring kind of a growth that can quickly disappear. It's not necessarily sustainable. Going back to Nico's point, we've been using only one token indeed in our economy, and that's ETH, and it's probably the most used token today. And so, to some extent, we just talking to the population of people interested in ETH. And so, and you've been able to, tournaments and so win some ETH, and that's been the case, and is still the case today. So, anyone who's interested in that token could be interested in playing the game just to win some ETH. And I think, I'm not saying it's the best solution. I'm just saying it's a solution that's been sustainable and sustained for the past 4 or 5 years. And it brings, I would say, consistent interest and growth. So that would be the way I would say we incentivize, and we think about the funnel of you come in, you discover a free to play game, you discover IP, you understand the game loop, the game mechanic, and obviously you understand why can it be interesting for you to collect scarce digital cards, but you need to understand that they scarcity. You need to understand what the scarcity is, and so the scarcity in Sorare is super simple: 1, 10, 100, 1,000, and depending on that scarcity, obviously it's a different price point, and it allows you to play different types of competitions. So I think from that perspective, if you kind of come back to the Pokemon example, like you do want to know what scarcity you are buying, and you do want to know, how many cards are out there in the market, how many cards are being sold, etc. And that's like still a massive and probably the biggest at this stage power, I would say, strength of building on Web3 is having all that available to everyone.
I would say in terms of for the gamers is something. Most of the games they have rarity, and it's like in World of Warcraft you're gonna know this legendary stuff. Okay, everybody knows. You don't know how many there are, but you know actually it's very rare, it's very important, and everybody cares about it. That's the case for every single. I think most of the games out there. So rarity is not something you want to remove from the equation with Web3. I think you just want. So you want to have the data like you was mentioning, because you want people really gonna deep dive in it, but you also want the abstraction layer of okay, this is just. That's purple. That's orange. Okay, I'm thinking about this must be this must be rare. If I get it, I'm very happy about it. So I think there's still these two levels of visualization that are important. And I think when you want to cater to Web2 audience, you have to go to that direction, where basically they understand it's great, it's amazing. Oh, and actually I can sell it for $500 or what? And then you get people who are gonna start talking about it, talking to their friends about it, and I just opened a chest and this is what happened to me. And that's a thing where you can remove the frustration of Web3 and having more the pleasure of Web3.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
And I'm not sure because actually it's the fact that there is two different ways to access the super rare stuff. It's like one of the issue when you cannot pay for it. There is a matter of merit, or even if it's randomness and stuff, it doesn't matter. In the end, you get rare stuff because you were very involved in the game. So it's like the pure gamer's mindset. And being able to pay for it, it's too long, I know, I'm used to it. Being able to pay for accessing this rare stuff, it's for most of the gamers, it can be an issue, and especially for the old gamers in the audience, but it's an issue for all gamers. If you take a look at Roblox, for instance, it's like by design, all Roblox games are based on this kind of scarcity, and they monetize a lot on this scarcity. I want to say fake scarcity. It's not fair, but it's really far from being really as strong as it is in Sorare or any blockchain games, of course. But still, it's an issue. It's a question. I'm not. That's where, for me, that's part of the gap between the old generation of gamers and the youngest generation of gamers. You need to something that is rare need to be very difficult to access and has to be the proof that you played a lot and that you are very involved in the game. If you can get it just by playing 5 minutes of the game and because you are rich, you are ruining the whole community aspect of this. So that's part of the thing that we have to solve actually.
I see your point. Perfect. As the final question, and I would love to have you fight against this question, but if you have the same answer, that's also perfect. Because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, for the good or the bad reasons, it's for you to say, we had this bull market and an influx of money for the blockchain gaming project, an influx of visibility for the blockchain gaming space based on what happened in the crypto market. Definitely will be the one to say that you need to divide the two. Some of the others, maybe in the audience, will say otherwise. The question will be, I will say we're definitely in a bull market, so we're going to have a bull market for the next month, definitely, especially 2025. Are we saying gaming playing again a huge role into these bull markets as it was 2 years, 3 years ago, or are we just going to let meme coin do everything for us? So what do you think, guys? I don't know if anyone wants to start with that. Brian, maybe if you have a take.
Nicolas, if you want to start.
Yeah, let me think about it. But so yeah, I think if it's gonna have an impact, yes. Gaming, yes. Why? Because I think in terms of audience, the gamers and the crypto enthusiasts are very close. They understand the same thing. Virtual currencies or tokens, same story. Skins or NFTs, kind of same stories in some way, some extent. So I think there's a good correlation as well in this. So I think you will see definitely some interest. I think what's going to be interesting as well in terms of visibility is also for the developers, the game developers, because right now gaming industry is struggling, clearly. I think you see all the layoff in all the big studios. Yeah, that's happening everywhere. But in the crypto space, when there is a bull market, there is money. So I think you might see some developers be like, okay, let's do something there because there is actually capital to build a big game that you won't see, especially that easily as before in the typical Web2 gaming industry. What goes that?
No, yeah, I agree. I think obviously it will have a positive effect if there's a bull market. I think the other, massive, like what had a lot of influence also 3 years ago was Axie Infinity, and they were leading interest around blockchain gaming across media, influencers, etc. So you kind of need also a game that's driving a lot of attention to that space so that it trickles down to the other games. And to be honest, like I wouldn't wish a scenario like 3 years ago because I don't think it is sustainable for game creators. It is great in terms of fundraising and getting big growth numbers, but the difficult balancing act of balancing your game economy is even harder when you are in an economy that's overstressed with demand that's kind of fake demand for a certain amount of time. So I think having a new wave of users through these is great, but it shouldn't be something that just like 1-2 months of craziness and that's it. I don't think that's very sustainable.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the cycle. It's for, sorry to say that, it might be rude, but it's for speculators. And building a game takes years. A good game, it's very difficult. So finding it's almost impossible to find the right timing to be ready for the right moment in the cycle where you can really benefit from it without being crushed by the massive venue of players, something like that. So it's I think it's two different timing, but of course the gaming company can benefit from the cycle, but they cannot promise what meme coin can promise or what a very fast-paced team can promise. It cannot work like that, and so the reason why Telegram is really interesting today is because they are pushing very simple games. So the team behind it, they are able to really react fast and fast, etc. React fast to the change of the trend, etc. But you cannot do that if you are trying to build even a double game. It's impossible. And it takes time. So you cannot do all of that.
Can't agree more. Definitely agree with what you said. As a corporation, as a company, there are definitely ways to capitalize on what will happen in the crypto space, but not forgetting about how is it a challenge to build a game in this also fast-moving ecosystem. So thanks a lot for your time, guys. Really appreciate sharing your wisdom to everyone, and wish you the best for the next 6 months, but definitely we'll say 2025 as well. So yeah, thanks for your time.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.